Who knows? Now, Embe spawning as the red pieces over here at 7 o'clock, and Memo at 3 o'clock in the yellow units. Going for that grand restart from both players, I believe. Yes, he's going to be doing a grand restart here as well. Now, interesting about this map, 2 crossings, a lot of gators on this crossing. Only 1 gator here, so the scouting will be mostly unhindered from this. This ruin could provide some really interesting intel for... I believe it's going to benefit Memo to having this here, because he's going to scout this probably in the next 10 seconds. And as he does, that ruin will alert him. Oh man, he's just going to miss it. But that's not too important. When he does find it, as red comes across this crossing, red will inevitably come in contact with this ruin, and that will give Memo just a little bit of a heads up as to when red is fording that river, if it's with villagers or if it's with, some clubmen. The timing of the color change on that is going to determine what unit type is coming across, so there's a lot of information you can get from that little bit of information, that little bit of intel, if you pay attention, The second crossing here probably won't be too much of a factor. I'm expecting some quicker games here. I think this is going to be... I think both players are going to attempt to play very aggressive. And even if they don't, I think they're just naturally going to fall into a very messy and aggressive playstyle. Especially considering how bad Embe's map is. If you take a look at this, look at where the wood is. He's got a forest over here, and he's got a forest way over here. I don't know exactly what he can do to alleviate this. He's already come way out to here. He's probably a little disappointed in this map generation at this point, seeing how large this distance is before he even has any bit of wood. But he will find some up here, and finding this wood will also give him access to these berries, or it should show him these berries, which is another important food source for that tool age. Memo potentially crossing the map with this villager will not do so. Here's the mini-map for you guys to take a little look at if you want to notice some things. I mean, the biggest feature of this map by far is the general lack of wood on this whole side of the map, right? That's pretty brutal for Embe. He's going to have to... I think he's going to have to play aggressive to overcome this map problem. However, Memo falling 1 villager behind, it looks like it's just a timing thing. Maybe a little bit slower on the vill, maybe getting housed for a second. Shouldn't be too much of a factor, just a difference of 10 seconds or so. But as I've said before in this tournament, 30 seconds can win a game. When it comes to this early game economy, it's absolutely critical in a 1v1 that they're as efficient as possible. And players at this level will be doing their best not to make any mistakes. And they rarely will make mistakes regarding that. Let's see. What's going on here? Huh. I don't think Memo found this. No player has found this yet. The second crossing. And that's going to be really important to see if someone tries to block this off. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is blockable with 1 dock. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think this is 1 dock block. And the potential for that means that this could be important. Now, 2 villagers coming forward very early for Memo, and this is going to be a barracks paint. It has to be. Well, what else could it be sending 2 villagers forward like this for Embe? Not even close to doing any sort of aggression like that. Going up to 19 vills, Memo may be thinking about doing an 18 vill. Ooh, and if he builds a barracks right next to this house, it's going to be in prime position to strike at both the fresh food source for Embe and also his wood line, which is really hard to wall. This is a really difficult wall spot. So the barracks are coming down nearly identically. I guess it's going to come down to who clicked first and who can get those clubbers out, and who can get the upgrades and the positioning. So at this point, Memo is on the aggressive for sure, and that's pretty clear. But when you consider how this is going to play out, if Memo's aggression doesn't pay off, and Embe is able to make safe in this area, somehow, I don't know how that's possible. This is going to be very problematic for Memo, but it looks like it's going to turn out pretty well. Memo microing this clubber away, cannot trade hits with the villagers at this point. It's really about getting that early information. See, the villagers with their large bones are just going to smack at those clubbers. And the big problem with trading hits is that now your Axeman, when he upgrades, is going to be severely damaged at this point. And that's not something you can really afford. That's a big food investment. 50 food. Each clubber is valuable, as expensive as a villager, and trading poorly. And the actual upgrade comes in with the armor, and this is going to be very bad for Embe. He loses a villager because of that timing attack. Now, Memo, retreating his villagers, killing... Okay. Alright, he killed the villager here. He's going to be doing wall tiles. Okay. So wall tiles, see, he could, I believe, wall to here, and that will wall that in. He needs to watch this villager to make sure it's not... So he's just going to be going for the 2 barracks into Axers, and then he's going to try to make safe at home and boom up behind the rush. The question is, how well can Embe defend this? He has slingers, but no upgrades. He does have the market, but this map is an absolute mess for Embe. I believe Embe is going to be in a lot of trouble at this stage of the game. He's been forced off these berries, and he's been forced to do some really awkward walling. But, as we've said before, slingers, once made safe, he has the upgrades. The slingers can kind of work with this choke point, and he's got 3 now, and there are no more axles coming out for Memo. So Memo, content with the damage he's done, he's going to move forward with these 4 bills, probably to drop a storage pit somewhere here, and do these either gazelle or this elephant as well. Oh, moving forward due to the berries, but scattering these gazelle in the process, I guess ignoring the berries. So he believes he is safe, and this is why this second crossing is going to be critical. So if you look at this, Memo has used this aggression to kind of give him time to wall on the other side of the map, right? Like this little segment here is walled, and that is going to give Memo some security for now as these slingers come out. This is a large army, and this is exactly what I was talking about. With this aggression from Memo, his barracks are now under duress. He's not producing too many axles from this at this time. And he's allowing his opponent Embe to build up that slinger mass. And slingers, once massed, are nearly unstoppable in the Tool Age. There are very few counters to it, other than more axers than there are slingers. And that's pretty hard to accomplish, considering the timings and things. And so this is critical. Both players have now discovered the second crossing. And Memo is immediately moving forward with a villager, I think, to help out, and then to build some form of wall. These slingers are... Okay, I thought they were coming across. Now, Memo, going for the sea control, he's going to have some issues here, as this amount of slingers at this point, with the upgrades, it's just going to be really hard to stop that with just ships. Gators getting in the way. Oh my gosh. Good micro from Memo not to lose that villager against 3 slingers. Oh, a really bold storage pit placement from Embe. And are any of these villagers hurt? No. If one of them is too damaged, then these scout ships have potential. Okay, so 2 scout ships now. If he moves these together and spots the storage pit, he could potentially get a villager or kill. A villager or 2. He needs to watch this villager not walling, but he'll notice that in a second. He's going to be attacking these villagers. Surely he saw this. Surely. Yeah, here's the attacks coming in on the villagers, and now these fishermen will be denied. That's 120 wood down the drain at this point, and Embe still in no position to build the dock, but he's content to ignore docks for this point. The Axlers from Memo still out on the map, scouting out the back of Embe's base, but Embe's economy is all here, protected by his slinger mass. Now, It's important to note that he has another berry down here. Both players comfortable with their positions, I believe, at this stage. The Axers from Memo will be rampaging around for a bit and causing a lot of problems, but nothing too big. I think the biggest thing about this is that the Vil count was in favor of Memo at the start, and Embe lost a bunch of Vils. Whoa. Embe lost a bunch of Vils, so I don't know how good this is going to be for him. He's behind. He doesn't have the C to boom on, but he has the numbers of slingers. So, can Memo mount a defense with these units? These are the questions. I don't know if he has enough. He's going to be getting a lot of nice hits in on these slingers. Slingers without the +2 armor, caught out in a bad spot and did not use their advantage of numbers against these Axers effectively. Pulling the Axers away from the scout ship support will mean that the slingers will emerge victorious from this kerfuffle. Now, it's important to note that this wall is weak and there is no backing wall. Memo could move forward. Yeah, he notices. He's coming forward to finish off that wall tile. Now, both of Memo's barracks on the front have been destroyed. The question is, what's coming next? Memo has had a lot of safety for his economy, and he is ahead in Vils by a few at this point. He has sea control, and he has some scout ships. Now, the slingers are extremely strong at pressuring this this crossing, right? The crossing will inevitably fall to enough slingers. Memo, on top of this, however, has gotten the range upgrade for the scouts, which means with good micro, the scouts can dance behind and away from these slingers. Now, he needs to watch the ship. See, this is where we're going to notice the power of slingers versus ships. Slingers with that pierce armor take reduced damage. They only take 3 per hit, right? So when you count this, the ships really aren't that efficient against them. Especially when you consider the cost of the ships as being much higher. Now, all of Memo's buildings have been eradicated from Active's side of the map, and you can see that right now on this timeline. However, Memo's ships are just pestering Embe. He's really trying to find an angle into getting some sort of dock up. I believe that was a bunch of villagers scouting for food. I think he's going to be in need of a dock pretty soon, and he's moving the slingers forward. This is exactly what you want your scout ships to be doing, though. The slingers cannot reach the range, and you see Memo there, moving the scout ship just enough back so that the one range advantage is enough. Memo looks to be in a really solid position at this point. Now, the question is, with the 6 vill advantage, and he did not invest in a ton of slingers as Embe did, he was a lot more efficient with his kills. Look at the kill loss. Heavily in favor of Memo. So, we should be seeing bronze. Yes, bronze. Without the food investment of the slingers and the kill advantage and the vill advantage, the bronze is going to be coming out for Memo before Embe, but Embe is not going to be far behind. With this archer range and market, he certainly has the capacity to bronze, and he had berries, he had the hunt here. I think he's going to have enough. He's going to be short on food, though. Going to be a little short on food. So Embe, noticing the threat here, as he sees, so Embe is going to notice this immediately. His opponent has stopped aggressing. His opponent is walled up. His opponent has sea control. He knows he needs to find a way to make some space for himself. He needs to delay because he knows that Memo is going to hit bronze first, and with a more powerful economy. Memo needs to really pay attention to this. If he lets 2 docks go up on this side of the map, it's really going to be a pain in the ass for his sea control. Memo needs to react to this, like right now. He needs to react to this yesterday. The first dock already up. Dock's extremely tanky in comparison to the fire of scout ships. Will be able to produce quite a few scout ships of their own and force Memo to fight the sea for just a little bit more, and this delay is exactly what he's going to want. Now Memo has hit bronze ahead of Mbe. Oof. This is tough to call. With two docks on this side of the map now, Memo needs to pay extremely close attention to these scout ships and make sure that he is getting efficient fights in. He could get a lot of vill kills here if he pays attention. And ooh, Mbe gets bugged by Memo. Extremely well played by Memo. By blocking off his own dock, Memo moved the ship forward and caused a lot of stress, and that's 3 villagers going down. That is a lot of villagers to die for that. You can get a quick replay of that happening. Oh my gosh, well, we look around the rest of the map, and it looks like the slingers are getting picked off again, and the War Galley upgrade comes out for Memo. This is going to be a huge advantage on the sea for now. The question is, will this investment pay off? So, the thing about War Galleys here, okay, so Mbe is going to be fighting with his own War Galleys, and with this bugged one, he's going to be having some issues defending. The question is, who gets the first range upgrade, or the second range upgrade, rather. The economy is still in favor of Memo by quite a... Alright, sorry about that quick interruption there. And the sea battle is still raging on. Actually, no, it looks like more like a Cold War, where both players build up their naval battle. Naval strength. Memo has the range upgrade here. He could make a move in on this, but it looks like he's trying to get some quick upgrades in first. Take a quick look at the minimap here. Memo still exploring this whole side of the river to make sure he denies all of the dock potential on this side of the map. And with this range upgrade, he's going to be able to harass this woodline. Once again, highlighting the poor map for Mbe. Mbe really has to come back from this map deficit, really. Mbe, playing smart and safe, is going to be walling behind the river. He's afraid of that transport threat from Memo. And without that range upgrade, he's going to have a lot of trouble in the river competing against these far superior War Galleys, especially with the support from these chariot archers. Memo drawing back the ships of Mbe, and with the superior numbers, will be able to shut down this side of the map. Memo still with a severe advantage in timeline and economy, and kills. Forcing his opponent off this woodline, forcing his opponent much earlier off of this storage pit, and that is the docks completely shut down. All of the navy of Mbe. Now the question is, how does he push? At this point, how does he push in to Mbe's land? What will we see? With the naval support, he can easily knock down these walls. He could transport. We could be seeing a transport. I don't think he really needs to transport. I don't think he needs to risk that. Not that it's a risk if he just transports units, but I think he'll have the capacity to knock down the walls. What tech is Mbe going to go for? I think Mbe is going to be going into copies. But he does have the wheel upgrade, so maybe the gold is just for some upgrades. Let's check the gold income. Only 50 gold collected and 200 for Memo. That could be calculated to get the Chariot Archer nobility upgrade. No +4 melee armor, but that's not going to be a factor here. So 3 ranges for Mbe versus how many ranges for Memo here? It's just 3 as well. No, just 2. Just 2. Memo slacking on the army production at this stage, and the copies are coming out for Embe. Now, Embe probably picking the better unit for this stage of the game, as copies in mass can defeat Chariot Archers. Now, Chariot Archers have the advantage of speed, more hit points, but they also cost much, much more. So it's really going to come down to who can mass more, and it looks like with this time, Embe's going to be able to get a large enough unit. Maybe Memo playing a little too defensively when his opponent was down quite significantly. Let's check the timeline real quick. Wow. Whoa, never mind. Memo playing big. I did not notice this. 4 town centers from Memo. He will be out-booming his opponent significantly, but he needs to make sure he produces enough army to compete. And here's the first transport. Where's it gonna go, though? Embe prepared for this. Okay, so he's gonna try to drop it here, and he's gonna be able to deny a lot of woodline at first, and he also has access to this side of the map, as Embe was unable to wall this. However, these copies are going to be a threat, however, without +2 range, as Memo has. I don't know why I said it so weird. +2 range. Memo is going to have a slight range advantage, but he does not have the numbers to compete with this for now. Will he be going to iron? Maybe. Does he have the gold for iron? Memo has the gold for iron. Memo just clicked iron, didn't he? He built the temple. He's going iron. Memo's clicked iron. So what are we going to see from him in iron? That's the unit question. I'm going to assume with still just 2 ranges that we have no idea. Probably some horse archers. Horse archers deal with compies pretty effectively as they get some pierce armor, which makes them fight very effectively. And with the naval support, Memo will have the numbers of chariot archers here to deal with the compies. Big battle coming out in the middle of the map, but it looks like it will fall. It will go in favor of Memo here. Although with the reinforcements coming in, it will fall to Memo to push into this point. I don't know what I'm saying. I didn't say any words there. Blech. Yeah, excuse me. Memo with the 2 siege workshops, probably about to hit iron, I would assume. And we could be seeing some catapults from him. Another archer range, so we're going to be seeing catapult and horse archer from Memo. And he does need to secure a way for his units to get across this. So maybe we'll be seeing one of these stone throwers eventually working its way onto this wall tile. Or he might not need to do that just yet. He still has this villager building some things. And here's the iron upgrade. Important to note about... This is an important thing to note about the Shang Iron Age, is they do not have access to the late game government center text. So these ships on the shore really do become rather useless. They don't get alchemy, they don't get ballistics, they don't get trireme. So they're going to be kind of lackluster from this point on. But the horse archers from Memo should be enough if he's able to mass enough. However, with all this time that he's been given, Embe has been able to mass a lot of compies, but not enough to deal with the threat of horse archers, let alone horse archers in the flesh. Great game. First match. Wow. That was really interesting. Straight to iron, Memo went. Basically ignoring the Bronze Age. We saw the early axe rush. We saw the sea war for a bit. Then they just kind of sat back and boomed, both players. But Memo had the advantage the whole time, as his axe rush was very effective. Embe went slingers, and it was completely shut down by the sea, which we actually haven't really seen that too much. Typically, when players go for slingers, they are able to ford the river. Memo successfully stopped that aggression from Embe with the scout ship, specifically by getting the range upgrade. Wow, that was a good game. Straight to iron though. Really, really impressive from Memo. The Vil advantage was just so in his favor. Once he hit bronze, Memo just sat back behind the sea, whereas Embe really had trouble getting his wood economy going as he was getting peppered from things.
Yes.
And we're going to be taking a quick break in between these games, so we can start talking about the overall structure here. What just happened? We can analyze this game a bit more. Let's think. Let's think. What do we think? Hello.
Hey, Winston. Winston. A fabulous game.
Hello.
Hey, Winston. Fabulous game.
Wicked. And so we are still streaming. Could you please turn off the stream quality?
Yeah, I got it all fixed.
Okay, sweet. So, welcome everybody. This is Bromley. Say hello.
Hey, good to see such a nice audience here tonight.
So I brought Bromley in here just to get a quick analysis from another perspective on that game. You all just watched it. It was an epic showdown. Memo hit iron. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the reason he did was because he got enough quick hits in Tool to know that he slowed Embe down, and then he controlled the river. So as long as he didn't suffer a transport, he knew he was safe, and he knew he had a better eco. So then I think he's playing it safe. He's going for the bronze. He gets the bronze. He's still not really pressured. Controls everything. So I think he knows if he hits iron, he's going to get the GG.
Well, that's a great analysis, and I couldn't agree more.
I tell you, in games like this, when you said it in the casting, when you have expert level players like this, every little a benefit that they get in attack. If you reduce the other side's Vil count by 2 or 3 and you start at an even point, that makes a huge difference. These people don't make mistakes. So if you can take somebody down a little bit, it's going to pay off.
Indeed, indeed. Well said, Brom. Thank you very much for that quick analysis. But I believe
My pleasure.
Our players are almost ready to play this next game, so thank you. Alright, so we're going to be jumping right into game number 2 after that brief analysis from our special guest, Rami.
Yes.
That was Rami. And now, ooh, look at this map, guys. So this is the second map of the tournament. And if you forget, our highlight of the tournament so far came from a map similar to this, where Soygia utilized a transport across one of the tiny lakes to get his scouts into his opponent's base. That was what ultimately knocked Q out of this tournament. Or was that Tokyo? I forget. It was a crazy game. Whichever one it was incredible. So looking at this map, we can see that it will be Embe with the lakes on his side. However, the RNG not so much in his favor, as these do not have a lot of fish, and none of these are really shorefish heavy. There aren't any good storage pit spots for some shorefish. I mean, I guess if he spots, no, neither of these are reachable from the sea. Or from the land here. I guess there's 2 here. If you were to go for that, it would be an option. Now, there is only one... Whoa, visual. There is only one crossing, and it is at this section of the map over here at 3 near their bases. The players spawned very close together. It's going to be interesting to see how Memo approaches this one. He, as the victor of last game, is threatening victory in the set if he wins this match. And it looks like he's got the map to do it. I'm gonna be honest. He's got 2 elephants, 2 gazelle patches, like 2 patches of gazelle. He's gonna be able to spot the crossing with relative ease if he scouts efficiently. I think he's gonna be in a good spot. Meanwhile, his opponent, Embe, doesn't have elephants to work with. Once again, the river's RNG is such that elephants are random. They really are random. There seems to be no rhyme or rhythm to who gets elephants, where they are, or how many spawn on the map. I've seen between 2 and 8. I think we saw 8 in one tournament. In my testing, I only saw a max of 7, but I had to change that to 8 after one of the matches so far. I think looking at this, it's really going to come down to timing here. This is going to be another aggressive game. I think this is No. No. You can't dock buck this. I do not believe. It's kind of hard to call. I'd have to, like, place a dock to see it. No, I don't think you can. Maybe? No, yeah, if you place it, like, here. Like, you can't do the square in the right method, but I think if you place a dock here, it will block it, which would, in this map, make safe. Both players moving into this crossing at the same time, though, and we're going to have an epic showdown from this crocodile's point of view. He's playing monkey in the middle, croc in the middle. Now Memo moves forward to lure it. Okay, no. Okay, it didn't happen. I was hoping the croc would get really distracted and do a little dance, but we didn't get to see that. The gazelle lure for Memo looks pretty clean. One little outlier here. He's going to be able to go grab his final gazelle, and he has another patch to push. In fact, maybe one of these gazelle is from that patch. I'm not exactly sure. And these 2 elephants really close by for him to gather. So both players have scouted out that this is the crossing. Both players know about this, and Memo immediately checking for another crossing. He doesn't know how close Embe is to this crossing as well. But if he's able to explore that there's no other crossing, and I think he's already confirmed that there are no more crossings. With this info, and this villager walking this whole line here, he's going to confirm the lack of crossings other than this one. The lakes probably will not play any part in this game. Sometimes they're influential, as we've seen, and most of the time they're pretty much just useless. They take up a lot of space. They make the map look kind of cool. I appreciate it. Like, you get like little puddles like this. Aesthetically speaking, it's nice. And this is the dock, and it's not placed in a spot to dock block it. Maybe a misjudgment? So now do you see, if he had placed it one tile south, this left corner would have covered the whole crossing along with this side here. So it was dock blockable. But Memo's moving forward, and his is not... He needs 2 docks. I don't think he's going to be going for that. With this block in place... It's not full, though. You can walk around this. I hope that Embe knows this. He's built a fishing boat. Memo building defensive barracks on this big hill, which is going to be a really big boon to him. This hill is going to be really nice, especially if they get the Bronze Age. Embe is going to have a really tough time pushing this hill if they both go archers. Memo pushing his gazelle, I think, towards the stone mine, maybe just for some clarity. Maybe trying some slingers. If we see a storage pit here, we could be seeing some slingers from Memo, just based on the map. And here's the storage pit. Will it mean slingers, though? That is the question. No dock yet from Memo. Embe much quicker on the dock, and that one villager is going to give him a small advantage. 2 villas advantage. One of those, the fishing boats. One of those, that individual fishing boat. And so yes, Embe calculated that dock placement. That is good to know. He wanted to send his defensive Varric clubsman across the map. So how will Memo react? He's going for stone, but the Axers are in. These clubbers are here. And Memo needs to deal with that. Memo's now on the defensive for the time being. What upgrades are in? Memo going for a market. This clubber coming across. It could become an Axer at any second now. The upgrade could be coming in. No defense upgrade will come in time to save that clubber. little early on the gun there, leaving that clubber behind. And no axe upgrade from Embe. He will be going directly into slingers. So Memo a little behind on the slingers here. He doesn't have that upgrade, and he's lacking the numbers. Embe seeing that, sending 5 slingers rather, across the map, across the ford, crossing the Delaware, Washington style. Memo now with this hill on the barracks on the hill is going to be huge for him here. That damage increase is going to be extremely in his favor. Does he have the upgrade? He does have the upgrade. So we're going to be seeing a full-blown slinger war. Now the real question is, in this tournament, we have seen... Yeah, he didn't place this in the right spot for the dock block. He put it one north of it so that he could still walk around. Now Memo's going to be dancing on this hill. And with that, he's going to be able to protect his stone income. So at least that's one resource protected. And he does have these gazelle to work with, although they are decaying at a mildly alarming rate. The dock for Memo finally coming in. But we could be seeing the first scout ship from Embe any time now. And Memo's dock might be rendered useless if Embe uses his time advantage on the dock. Both players just smashing their slingers. So the question is, we've seen in previous matches in this tournament that slingers aren't the powerhouse. Well, they're still powerhouses. They're still very strong units when massed. But what we've seen is that the recent balance updates have introduced some counters to slingers, specifically the scout. Will either player invest in scouts this match? At this point, I view that as being unlikely, unless the slinger war really gets out of hand. I think, for the time being though, Memo's going to be really content with this engagement, as he got off a couple really strong early hits. Both players microing the battle, but Memo not falling for the pullback technique, and Memo with the first scout ship in the back, peppering these weak slingers that have been pulled back. Wow, and Memo just destroying him in that fight. Absolutely destroying him. So let's take a quick look at that battle at the end there when that scout ship came in. Now Memo's starting to cross the river. Hold up. Memo's starting to cross the river, and he's going to be attacking this dock. He must know that this isn't fully blocked, but he wants to kill this dock. If he can kill this dock, he can shut down these fishing boats. There's no other dock for Embe at this time, and there's no other scout ships for Embe. If he kills this, he's going to have total control over the river, and his scout ships will go unperturbed for quite a while, and Embe moving forward just in time to get that scout ship out. He moved forward with the slingers to buy some time for a scout ship, but it's not going to be enough. Memo with 2 docks is going to have the time. This one little slinger has somehow made it across the river, but it won't get anything done. It has nearly no health. If Memo clicks on that, he'll see, and he will know that he can just bone it with the villager. Anyway, the numbers here for Memo reaching the alarming rate, right? This is getting to dangerous territory for Embe. It's getting to the point where this number of slingers will be nearly impossible to shut down, and he needs to not take this fight. And they cannot afford to contest this number of slingers when he doesn't have a number that can match it blow for blow. He's taking really inefficient trades with his army. Memo on the ball, pushing forward now onto the town center, and he's going to be pushing that farm back. The alligator getting in on the action. This croc wants it. It smells blood as well. Memo micros down. Oh no, I thought he killed it. Oh my gosh. The farms are abandoned, and now Memo will push forward. Is there a doc answer somewhere for Embe? No, no doc. He invested so many resources. He invested so many resources in all those fishing boats and then was unable to protect them. He was unable to convert that food gained into military units.
Yes.
And there's the GG, and there's the game. It's already over. The semifinals. Go to Memo. We will be seeing Memo in the championship. In the final, not the championship, rather, the finals. Memo has advanced to the finals.